Is it 5 of you? All right. So Crowder will not practice today. We're trying to get him to Sunday. Rankins is having a normal day off with his knee. Elijah Riley is full participant in practice today. All right, COVID. As you guys are all aware, there was a lot of changes yesterday with the CDC and bringing guys back, including yours truly. So these guys are going to be cleared today to practice. On offense, it'll be Flacco and Diaboa. And then on defense, Michael Carter II, but he'll be limited. Lamar Jackson, John Marshall, Noah Dawkins, Hamza Nasruddin, Foley, and Smart. And then we're still hopeful. We're hopeful that we'll get Vincent Smith, LDT, and ABT on offense. And then on defense, hopeful that we'll get JFN, Ashton Davis, and Hamilcar Rochette. And then obviously there's another group of guys with regards to Croft, Hall, the Roy Reynolds, Quinn Williams, Uniga, and Webster. That's more in the 50-50 range.
So what's it like being back, Robert?
It's like the first day of school. Ready to go another 18 weeks.
Robert, when did you get back in the building? Was it yesterday or today?
This morning. So I got cleared around I want to say 7 o'clock in the evening, and but by then I was already knee deep in work, so it wasn't worth packing up all the equipment.
Just checking on Elijah Moore. Did I miss him in the long list of injuries?
No, yeah, you did not. I did not miss him, or I did not mention him. He's also in that 50-50 range. He's in the same boat as Crowder, so we're still working on him, trying to get back. We haven't activated him from IR or clear to practice yet, so there's still stuff that we're trying to clear physically with his quad.
Where is he?
Sorry, you broke up.
Where's Elijah with the COVID list? Is he off that yet?
He should be. He wasn't up on this list because of the IR standing that he has. I'll have to get back to you on that one, Chris.
I just wanted to ask an Elijah Moore question. It's funny, he and Michael Carter are both shown a lot of promise this year when they've been out on the field. And yet, because of their injuries happening at different times, those two guys and Wilson really haven't been out there a whole lot together. So what is your level of intrigue if it doesn't happen this week, maybe next week or maybe next year, just to get all those guys actually on the field at the same time?
No, that's a good observation. So they obviously in the beginning of the year they were, but none of them were really hitting their stride. And then when Zach got hurt, Elijah Moore hit his stride, and Michael Carter was coming along. And then when Michael Carter got back, Elijah went out, and then so you're right, but they've got a chance, especially with the way Zach's been playing since he's gotten back from injury, the way he's been improving. To get those three back, it's going to be a fun little trio to watch.
Robert, I know you're still waiting for a bunch of guys, but does it almost feel like a return to normalcy for you guys a little bit now that you're back in the building and guys are coming back?
I don't know, because we're still virtual and all that stuff, but what I love is the character of our locker room and the way they've attacked this and the way they've kept the spirits up and the way the Zoom meetings have been very interactive. And now we'll get to see practice here in a minute, but guys have a tremendous mindset to them. They've been completely locked in. So normalcy. Hopefully that's around the corner now with everything. We're down the home stretch with everything that's happened around the world recently with Omicron and all that. But the locker room's in a good place and ready to attack Sunday. So.
Robert, what's it like facing a quarterback who's older than you this week?
I'm going to ask him what water he drinks. I want to ask him a lot of questions about health because I need to get out of bed to probably the ease at which he does. But he's phenomenal. He's just watching his tape yesterday. I'm in absolute awe of his pocket presence, his footwork, just all of it, his decision making. He's he's an absolute stud, and no question the greatest that's ever played the position. And anyone who questions it, just look at the amount of rings he has. So it's gonna be fun.
Is it possible, Robert, to fool him with defensive scheme, or is that just kind of, he's been around for 20 years, he's seen everything. It's really, you really can't hide anything out there.
Now, you know, we always, you know, in the coaching world, I guess you'd say, God, if I only, like all these players who start coaching, like, God, if I only knew now what I knew then as a player, you know, and when I played. And so if you ever wanted to see what a coach would look like if he still had the ability to play, no, there he is, Tom. I mean, he's playing better than he's ever played. I mean, he looks phenomenal. And but his decision making, all of it, he's so precise, and he gets rid of the ball, and he knows what's happening. I mean, you guys saw the clip of him telling Fournette that it was cover 2 and his back was turned. You know, like the guy just knows. And there's not much. I promise you, he's going to pick 1 of 11 that's going to tell on the snap, and he'll find it very quickly, and he knows exactly where he needs to get in progression before the ball's even snapped.
We spoke with Sheldon Rankins on Monday, Robert, and he's faced Tom a few times. He had just kind of an interesting observation with all the young players you have on defense. He said they can't go out there and kind of get starstruck and look across the line and go, "Oh my God, that's really Tom Brady." You know, these kids have watched him win 7 Super Bowls through the years. Is that something you talk about this week? Is that something you've seen happen before?
No, you know, I've you know, I was in Seattle when we brought Terrell Owens to camp, and I remember all the young corners wanting him one-on-one. You know, so I know these professional players, a ton of respect for Tom, a ton of obviously they all grew up watching Tom, but I promise you they also want to go compete against Tom. And they want to compete against Mike Evans, and they want to compete against Fournette and all their great players. And then on the flip side, you know, Richard Sherman's on the defensive side of the ball. You forget about him. There's a lot of star power on this football team with Sue, and their linebackers are phenomenal. So a really, really, really talented championship roster that our guys are really excited to go compete against. But at the same time, the messaging here is to keep it internal, because it still comes down to us and our ability to execute at a high level, and trusting that wherever the chips fall, they'll fall in a favor in a place that we like. But yeah, it's a great opportunity, because this team's playing obviously for the playoffs, and they're hitting their stride, and they're trying to they obviously they won the division, but they're still I believe they still have home field advantage in their sights. And so again, as a team, we're going to get everything they've got, and we got to give it back.
When we were talking to Sheldon also, Robert, he kind of was making some comments about, you know, you see Tom when you're growing up, or you see Tom from afar, and then when you actually see him, there are things that stand out that are a little bit different. So do you remember the first time you ever coached against him, the first time you saw him, and just some of the things maybe that he does that you didn't necessarily expect, that you don't see on TV?
You know, I try to black out some of the times that we've played him, but he's I always argue that the greatest players in all of professional sports work the absolute hardest, by far. Whether they do it in private, whether they do it out in the open on Instagram, whatever it is. But Tom is one of those guys. When you look at the relentlessness at which he works, the work ethic, the study habits, pulling guys with him to go work, pulling guys with him to go throw. Guy will go on vacation. We'll call up some teammates to come to his vacation house so he can make sure he's still getting his work in while he's working with family, or playing with his family, or spending time with family. So he's absolutely relentless, and so whatever he does do, I wouldn't be surprised.
With injuries and COVID, what's your tight end situation right now?
So I know we're signing somebody. I don't have the name on my desk right now. I know we're working on signing somebody to the practice squad. You've got Dan Brown, you've got Yaboa. So we're trying to get to 3 tight ends on our roster.
Robert, with the COVID list and the long list, what percentage or how many guys are asymptomatic, even though they're on the COVID list? I'm not asking for a specific number, but just a general ballpark on what exactly is going on as far as guys that are on the list but don't have any symptoms?
You know, Dan, I wish I had that answer for you. I would just be giving you a ballpark. I wouldn't be able to come close to an accurate number, but I do know that if they're clear, they're asymptomatic because based on the CDC rules. So my assumption, and it's the only way it could be, is that all of them that I gave you that are clear today are clear of all symptoms. So that's 9 of them.
But the question is more, how many guys are on the list before they're cleared who are fine, but they just tested positive?
Got it. I don't have that answer for you right now. Then I'll get it to you a little bit later. I got to do some number crunching.
Robert, I know you said you expected Elijah Riley to come back, but the fact that he's coming back this week, what does that mean to you? You know, because it was a really scary thing that we saw.
Knock on wood. Elijah's such a tough individual. Obviously, he's armed forces, so he's just his mindset, his grit, his toughness, all that stuff. Completely blessed that he's able to recover as quickly as he has, and really excited to get him back into the fold because he's in the short time that he's been here, he's garnered a lot of respect from his teammates and his coaches.
Robert, I've got a little bit of a off the beaten path question for you. You talked about, Matt LaFleur, your buddy. He tied George Seifert for the most wins for a coach through his first 3 seasons. You go back with him. Was there anything that you saw from him back then that you could share that you knew, like, hey, this guy's going to be pretty good at this?
Man, I've always had such a high level of respect. It was call it the first moment he and I were sharing an office together at Central Michigan, and all the different conversations he and I would have. And, you just know when someone knows, right? And, he played quarterback. I played against him in college. We played in the same division. He went to Ashland University, became an offensive coordinator in his first year. They win 11 games and go to the playoffs. And so anytime he's been a play caller, he's been very successful. So he's a tremendous mind. He's a relentless worker, and very fortunate to be able to call him my friend. So
we'll take a couple more for Coach.
Robert, with all the COVID moving parts for your team and with the protocols and stuff, just how difficult has it been as an organization just to manage all of this and keep up with the changes? And, I'm sure there's a lot of guys behind the scenes doing a lot of work on this.
Yeah. Joe Douglas and his staff have been they've been rock stars. I called Joe this morning as soon as I walked in, and I'm looking at the board trying to look at all the new names and all that stuff. And he's like, Coach, we'll get this one focused on meetings, and I'll give you a call in about 30 minutes and we'll have it all sorted out. And boom, so Joe, Rex Hogan, and Nej and his staff have been absolutely awesome and keeping the roster where it needs to be, with great communication with the coaching staff on who we need and who needs to be up and down and all that stuff. So a really good handle on the roster, especially with all the different moving parts. It's been a heck of a couple of weeks.
I'm just curious, how did Will Parks do for a guy who came in, had like literally a few days to get ready and learn the playbook? How did he do, and what do you see for him going forward?
We're excited about Will. All it takes is one game, right? And he, one, credit to him and the coaching staff for the extra hours they put in to get ready for Sunday. Two, to make sure that we went in with a much smaller game plan to make sure that they could execute rather than try to trick them. Just give him a chance to go execute, and which he did. And now 3, it's credit to the player to go out there and just let loose. Was it perfect by any sense of the imagination? No, but was it winning football? Absolutely. And so he's in his very short time has already earned the benefit of the doubt. And we're really looking forward to working with him more.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Recording stopped.
This concludes this morning's availability. We'll be back